This is MGC, I'm Masai Gaines, and today we want to look at the beautiful Land Cruiser 100 series. It's been 26 years since the first Land Cruiser 100 series rolled off the line at Toyota, and today we'd like to look at this 100 series generation and see the kind of wear and tear that has happened over all these years. Hit like, subscribe, and enjoy. So what is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode. It's 2007 Land Cruiser Cygnus for those of you watching in the US, basically an LX470, and today I wanted to take you through all the common issues with the Land Cruiser 100 series platform. A lot of you own 100 series out there. These vehicles are aging well, they're durable, reliable, they're sought after, and a lot of people are kind of recognizing why these vehicles are just so good. They're different from the 200 series, they're different from the 80 series, and so they're really starting to come into their own in most of the countries, and their resale values also are starting to come into their own. So today I wanted to take you through the common issues with the 100 series V8 petrol Land Cruiser, what to look out for. Some of the issues will be pertaining to other parts of the vehicles and not necessarily the engine, so even if you own a diesel out there, you should still watch this video to understand exactly what you're getting into if you're looking after or if you're looking out for one of these vehicles and you want to get into a Land Cruiser. All right, guys, now since we are in the vehicle, let's just start inside the vehicle. So for one, you guys know this interior is more of the LX470, or as we call it, the Cygnus, which is the Japanese kind of LX470, the JDM version. So you guys know this interior is a bit different, but for all 100 series Land Cruisers, you have a similar type of interior, and I would say that you know, the sort of the gray bits, the air conditioned vents, and down here near the gearbox is sort of more prone to a bit of the wear and tear. So a bit more of the color discoloration and a bit more of the wear and tear you might see on these kind of panels. But I must admit that if you are in a Cygnus, if you are in an LX470, the wear and tear on the interior is much better than the normal Land Cruiser. It seems like the genuine wood and the genuine leather seems to do better than the kind of you know, the superficial wood and the other type of leather that's used in the normal Land Cruiser 100 series. But I must say, the seats, they do hold up to a good amount of wear and tear, but they are a bit sensitive, especially if you wear things like hard jeans, or you know, you put wallets in your pocket and whatnot. You are most likely going to kind of wear down the driver's seat and the passenger seat on kind of the edges, because people tend to come out of these vehicles by kind of sliding off the seat, and so you will usually see wear and tear on the seat. Now if we come around to other aspects of the interior, you've got a telescopic steering wheel that comes up, goes in and comes out whenever you start the vehicle. That's working fine. Electronics within the vehicle have been working fine over time. You know, I've not dealt with issues like the heated seats. The heated seats are still working. The AHC height control system is still working. The 10-way adjustable seats are still working. So actually all of the electronics in the 100 series should be working 20, 25, 30 years if you're looking at some of these examples. And if the electronics are not working, then you might have other issues. Now if you come inside here, you guys know, of course, with most of these Land Cruisers, we have the sunroof, the beautiful sunroof. Now the sunroof is something that if not serviced, if not taken care of, if not greased regularly, it can lock up. If a sunroof locks up due to water, due to kind of debris in your drains, you guys got to remember that any vehicle that features a sunroof, especially Toyota sunroofs, there will be drainages on the edges of the sunroof, and those drainages will allow water to drive down the A-pillar and drain just under the wheels of the Cygnus. And so you guys want to check these drainages, and this is something that you should do with any vehicle you are buying. I've seen a lot of 100 series examples where people have messed with the roof or there's been damage, but they try and kind of hide it. So always a telltale sign when you get into these 100 series is, if it has a sunroof, open that sunroof, check that it's working in, out, that the tracks are well greased, and then pour water down on the drainages and see that the water smoothly and easily comes out from the footwells, and that will tell you that the drainages are not clogged, and most likely that means the vehicle is okay. You guys have got to remember that in Toyota vehicles, if you do have a sunroof and the drainages are clogged, most of the time, even if there's no sunroof, guys, there are always drainages in a vehicle because we have to drain the rainwater coming from the top of the vehicle, and so usually the water has to run down. So a telltale sign of a clogged drainage, guys, is that you might have dampness, you might have a smell of dampness inside the vehicle, and you might have a bit of water in the passenger footwell, because generally that's where the water tends to fill and then sort of overleak into the footwell, and that can cause other issues with air conditioning systems as well. So telltale sign, I would say, with the 100 series, first of all, check the sunroof. If we look at door cards hold up very well. Dashboards are known to be very well. This is not like the Prado 120 series or, you know, some of the other Prado models where they used to be prone to cracking dashes. Even Lexus RX models, early models, having the cracking dashes. 100 series Land Cruisers tend to hold up very well. The earlier models may be a bit more suspect, but 2003 onwards, the updated interior, not many problems at all with those kind of issues. Alright guys, and next item we would come to is the general appearance of the Land Cruiser 100 series, common issues. Now I have to say, Toyota did a great job with the paintwork as well. These vehicles, 15, 20, 25 years old, I've seen them, I've seen other examples of them. The paintwork has generally stood up very well. This example is the diamond white pearl paint. One of my favorite color options on any Land Cruiser, and it just has held up very, very well. So on the exterior, you should look for panel gaps. You should look for those kind of things if you're getting into one of these Land Cruisers. But generally, a well sorted 100 series should have no issues on the exterior paint and the exterior paintwork. Generally, when we look at headlights, you might have to deal with things like moisture getting in. I have, of course, silicone sealed my headlights, and so I've been okay. But you can generally get a bit of moisture or a bit of rainwater inside the headlights, and that shouldn't be too much of a worrying point to you. Now, if you're in other countries, of course, you need to look out for rust. You need to look out for rust on the underbody of these vehicles, and that can be an issue that deters you from this. But here in Nairobi, generally, you're usually okay. If the car has been around the coast, you have a bit more to worry about. But generally, when we go around the exterior of these vehicles, you should be seeing no sort of issues or, you know, serious issues with paintwork. Anything that points to the fact that the car has been repainted makes you question why it's been repainted, because in most cases, it isn't because the original paint had an issue. Now we come back to the rear of the 100 series. You got, you know, the taillights. They don't have generally any issues. You got a split tailgate, no issues there. So generally the 100 series exterior seems to hold itself up pretty well, and that's why you see this Cygnus example over here looking like it might as well roll off a brand new car lot right now. So why don't we open up the engine bay and see some of the common issues there. Alright guys, so you come into the power plant of this engine, 2UZFE. You guys got to remember this is the 4.7 liter V8, the first V8 that Toyota put in a Land Cruiser, and it did come in the 100 series. I'm a very big fan of this engine for its smoothness, and I have many times said that this is one of Toyota's finest V8 petrol motors. Now, as you can see, these vehicles were built nice and basic. These engines, you don't, according to me, there are no common issues to really look into over here. If I had to mention, well, first of all, let's just go with the radiator. The radiator has proven to be pretty decent and pretty strong in the 100 series. It's not necessarily like the 200 where some of the earlier models tend to develop cracks. So 100 series radiator on the V8 petrol holds up really well with no issues. Here's your air box. Now the only issue is over here. If we come here, this, my friends, is the brake booster connected to the ABS system, and this is the one area where you may encounter some issues. And a lot of users, what they tend to point to, and if you see a 100 series with these sort of lights on the dashboard, it would be pointing towards an issue with the brake booster and the pump setup right here. And the issue that people tend to get is you get the VSC, which means the virtual stability control light. So the car's traction control goes off, and then you also get an ABS light, and you might also get that kind of skidding car light in the Land Cruiser. If those three lights pop up, guys, sort of a common issue with the 100 series, but it's pointing mainly towards that brake booster issue. And usually to remedy the issue, you'd be replacing this whole unit, which is about $1,000. But apart from this pricey ABS unit, the rest of the engine holds up really well. You don't have to worry too much about the big block, the iron block, the 4.7 liter V8. It holds up very well. You should just switch out iridium spark plugs every 60-70,000 kilometers and you'll be most fine. AHC system, hydraulic height control. Switch out the fluid, a bit of service, and you should be absolutely fine with that system as well. So not a lot of issues to point out to in the front of the 100 series V8 petrol engine bay. So as I mentioned, guys, there's not a lot of things to worry in the 100 series, but if I just take you to the interior, some users have reported some issues with the sort of the inbuilt touchscreen. Now you guys have got to remember this, you can't put an aftermarket screen here. This is the Toyota inbuilt screen. And so I have seen some 100 series where this screen maybe after 15, 20, 25 years starts to glitch a bit. But, in general, the screen does still hold up, and I've not seen those examples a lot. So in general, the screen should be fine. Wear and tear on the gear knobs, wear and tear on the sort of the metallics is possible if you don't maintain it, and if you don't sort of spray it down, scrub it down the way I do. Then wear and tear on the leather and on the sort of materials in here is very much possible. Now some users have also reported a bit of issues with air condition. There is a blower motor just behind this area over here, and sometimes that can act up and make a bit of a loud sound on vehicle startup. But it is fixable. That is an issue that is fixable. But so far I've not had issues in the speedometer as well, the lighting. So most of the things, if not every single thing within this interior works perfectly, including the cool box. Now, other issues you might encounter with this vehicle, guys, is to do with a bit of a clunking sound on the driveline of the 100 series Land Cruiser. A lot of users of Land Cruiser 100 series will point to the fact that when they shift their vehicle from park into drive, they'll get kind of a big thud or a big sort of clunking noise. Now that driveline noise, guys, is fixable. It has to do with greasing. There are Zerk fittings below this vehicle on the prop shaft and along the whole driveline that needs greasing. And I have done my greasing on my Cygnus, and I don't have that clunking issue. But I have seen another Cygnus or another 100 series which does have that clunking. And you guys have got to remember that sometimes a lot of people get into these vehicles thinking it's a Land Cruiser, so I don't have to do anything. That's not the case. And when you get into these vehicles, you should be ready to do a bit of the work necessary so that your vehicle actually maintains itself really well and treats itself really well. You can think of it like almost like a human. You don't eat the right foods, you don't do enough fitness, you're going to start having issue. But if you do the preventative maintenance, take care of the car, you're going to have very, very few issues. So those driveline clunks have to do with the prop shaft, and I have done a video on it, so you guys can watch that. I believe it's Perfect Overlander Series, so check that out. But though we're talking about the underbody here, guys, and in this underbody there are Zerk fittings across the prop shaft, and those have to be greased well so you mitigate that clunking sound when you switch the gears. Now, other small issues that I must say doesn't just limit to the 100 series Land Cruiser. These issues are in most Toyota cars. And that has to do with switches, guys. Switches are not Toyota's strongest suit. And so even in my Cygnus right now, I have a little lagging issue where when I put the window down, when I click the auto windows fully up in the driver's side, it comes up to here and then it'll just retract back down to here. So I have an issue with my master switch. These are very simple issues, guys. Master switch issues that you can replace are very simple issues, but I must mention them to you so you are aware that you could have these kind of issues in any Toyota. Forget that this is a, brand new was $65,000. Even the Land Cruiser has those nagging issues where a few of the switches and a few of the little things might play up from time to time, but in general, and 99% of the time, they work just fine. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment down below. It's just some of the things you need to look out for if you're getting into a Land Cruiser 100 series, or if you own a Land Cruiser 100 series. Just a few of the things you can expect, but nothing too major here, guys. Nothing too major at all. If we look at the AHC system, the suspension system, I've gone over this in so many videos. You guys can watch those videos, but even with the AHC, I find it a very reliable system, guys. A lot of people think it's complicated. It's not very complicated. You've just got actuators, you've just got hydraulic struts, and you've just got hydraulic fluid. So if you've not checked my video on AHC, you can check that out on how to maintain that system, and that's also been part of the Perfect Overlander series. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, hit like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Masai Gaines, checking out.